I'm a slave to your violence. Look at all that you put me through. Got me hooked on the silence. I've been your slave and I can't escape from you. I'm a slave to your violence. Look at all that you put me through. Got me hooked on the silence. I've been your slave and I can't escape from
you. Former Jedi Knight? I'm no Star Wars encyclopedia, but even I can hear the frustrated cries from outraged forums saying that Ahsoka left the Jedi Order before officially becoming a Jedi Knight. Contradicting your own canon before a word of dialogue is spoken is quite impressive.
This is actually a good sin. Well done, TVSins. You're off to a good start.
So Episode 3, Revenge of the Also. A secret map, you say? A secret map to find a powerful figure who hasn't been seen in years, you say? I don't know, everyone. Sure is awakening something familiar in me.
Not in me. The Force Awakens doesn't exist. It's not a thing. That whole trilogy is just a nightmare that isn't actually real. Or canon. Fight me.
These Republic uniforms tell me that the in-universe team that designs them is either hugely underpaid or hugely doesn't give a shit.
Okay. And the sin is for what exactly? This is a pretty clear example of Discount Jeremy padding the sin count and runtime.
I'm calling their bluff. Signal them to come aboard.
If you don't think they're Jedi, why would you allow them on your ship? You have projector communication systems that let you see them. Use one of those. Letting them on your ship just opens you up to attack, or dare I say, a trap.
He obviously wants to meet them face to face in order to get a better sense of who they are, which would be more difficult via hologram. Yes, it ends up being a mistake, but that's not a sin of the episode. People make mistakes all the time.
Looks like we finally have an answer to why these helmets look so ridiculous. It appears to be the result of a budget-cutting one-size-fits-all situation. The Republic can't afford to make a helmet for every species, so they just picked the widest head and went with that.
And how is that a sin? I mean, even if everything you just said is true, it still wouldn't necessarily be sinful. The Republic before the Empire was shown to be fairly lazy and corrupt, and they didn't really give a shit about little things like helmets. It's entirely possible that a similar line of thinking resulted in these helmets.
Bad guys have already been found out, but even if they hadn't, their arrival method really didn't do them any favors. Not only do they arrive in what looks like an Imperial shuttle in a bad disguise, but they also disembark accompanied by a dramatic smoke machine to properly accentuate their evilness.
What's the point of this sin? Yes, the audience is being visually told that these characters are villains, but the characters within the show don't know that. Discount Jeremy still doesn't understand dramatic irony.
You're no Jedi. Just some overconfident Imperial trash who just pushed their luck too far.
He's got some stiff competition, but this might be the worst captain in the Republic. He knew these two weren't who they said they were and still managed to get completely caught off guard. Did the Republic defeat the Empire and then immediately set all systems to complacent?
Yes, the captain made a mistake because of his hubris. That's true. Yet again, though, I have to remind you that's not a mistake of the episode. Besides, it seems like you think he should have anticipated these guys being force sensitive, which is bullshit. Why wouldn't he let two people on board his ship? From his point of view, his men can easily overpower two measly people. Force sensitives are extremely rare at this point.
Phelan, you are true to your word.
And well paid for it, Lady Morgan.
Wait, she seems familiar. Okay, back to the internet. Looks like she popped up in Mando Season 2? Wait, Season 2? How do you expect me to remember a character I last saw 3 whole years ago?
This is one of those sins where Discount Jeremy complains about a connected universe being a connected universe. Look, if you don't want to consume all the media, or if you're simply not invested enough to remember it, that's fine. But you also don't get to complain about not understanding things if you aren't willing to consume the available media.
Okay, admittedly that was forcing badass, but I hope you didn't just land on the thing you came here to find.
She didn't, so this sin should have been removed from the video. Also, Discount Jeremy sins something he likes, cliche.
We all love a good archaeological puzzle, but I'm pretty sure Ahsoka Jones here is using the Force to figure this out. And forgive me if listening to vague voices in someone else's head isn't quite as exciting as an invisible bridge.
Discount Jeremy complains about someone using the Force. Not to mention that someone is Ahsoka Tano. You. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Stealthy assassin droids with loud flappy capes.
Who told you these guys are supposed to be stealthy? I love how you throw that word in to legitimize your point when that characteristic was never established.
Sure are a lot of weapons out there that negate the advantages of lightsabers, aren't there? But why do we only ever see the bad guys using them? Why doesn't anyone in the Rebellion or New Republic use stuff like this? Especially when all you need to make your weapon lightsaber proof is some kind of crackling laser.
First, lightsabers are very uncommon, so most people don't carry around melee weapons because they wouldn't have much use for them. Second, people who aren't Force sensitive still have an easier time killing Force sensitives with ranged weapons. Think about what you're saying here. Non-Force sensitive people should get into a lightsaber duel with a Jedi. Yeah, no.
Alright, who set the self-destruct on these droids to Oppenheimer? I know there are 3 of them, but by Qui-Gon's beard, this is a huge-ass explosion.
So big explosions are now sins? Because reasons? Seriously, why is this a sin? Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Watch my back.
That is the job of a Jedi Padawan learner, which I am not.
Oh, anyone can watch Ahsoka's back. It doesn't have to be a Padawan, but we're clearly more invested in trying to parent trap Ahsoka and Sabine.
Obviously anyone could, but his point is that the best option would be a Padawan. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
Location of the last missing Imperial Grand Admiral.
That's not possible. Thrawn died at the Battle of Lothal.
Believing this in a universe that brought back a bifurcated Darth Maul by giving him robo-legs.
I love how he complains about her believing Thrawn is dead when she quickly gets convinced that he's not and decides to help Ahsoka.
Thrawn survived. Does that mean Ezra?
I hope so.
So Elsbeth was buddies with Thrawn and somehow found out this map in a tomb would guide her to his location despite the rest of the galaxy believing he's dead? Okay, fine. Maybe she knows something we don't, but what does this have to do with their buddy Ezra still being alive? Also, who the is Ezra? Stop leaving me out. I already feel guilty for not watching all of Clone Wars and Rebels. You don't need to keep wailing on me with references I don't get.
Yet again, Star Wars is a connected universe. If you don't want to watch everything, then you can't complain about not understanding things. The explanations to these things are available to you. These sins are like complaining how you don't know a simple math problem when you have a calculator in your pocket.
This is not the first time you have proven to be clumsy. Lord Tyrannus, you know the price of failure.
Nothing is certain, except our enemies believe that they know where to look.
That's a very reassuring way of saying it doesn't matter that this nonsense is nonsense because the fact that our enemies believe it isn't nonsense means that it isn't nonsense.
Ahsoka's point was that, regardless of the validity of the enemy's beliefs, they need to counteract the enemy just in case. I know that sin was meant as a joke playing off of what Ahsoka said, but seeing as it wasn't funny, I felt the need to address the content instead.
Sabine Wren. Find her, now.
Hero is too cool for your hero worship and would rather be off racing something at dangerous speeds instead of being celebrated as a hero. Cliche.
That's not a cliche.
Also, this is a long-ass, completely trafficless highway. Did the whole world know she needed some free road to be mopey on her moped?
Most people are at the celebration. Did you forget about that already? Come on, dude.
Showing us the entirety of this giraffe-spotted, flamingo-legged cat thing's dinner routine.
Pointing things out on the screen. Which is even worse because loth cats are adorable and I want one.
I think I know how to find Ezra. ...
If he's alive, right? You see, that part is really f***ing important, unless you enjoy being in the building false hope game.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. They discuss this exact issue later. Why are you acting like they never bring this up?
Where did you find this?
In a world named Arcana. It was a stronghold for the witches of Dathomir.
Arcana? Witches? This is where Star Wars confuses the canon out of me. Okay, maybe they're just reaching for the closest English translation, but it's so distracting when concepts that are embedded in Earth mythology somehow end up being used a long time ago in a galaxy supposedly far, far away.
Arcana is an English word that means secrets or mysteries. Have you, by any chance, noticed the language that people in the Star Wars universe tend to speak? Yeah, English. Why do you have a problem with this now? Why didn't you complain about this in A New Hope? I mean, any movie or show that we make here on Earth obviously has to have elements from Earth, seeing as that's what we understand.
Map stays here.
Sabine ignores this request, but to be fair, Ahsoka didn't give her much reason not to. She could have said that a powerful ex-Jedi, his Padawan, and several assassin droids are chasing that map. Better yet, offer to go with her to wherever she needs to think more clearly so you can protect her. There are a million ways to solve this bullshit drama tension.
But it's not bullshit. The issues you brought up here are exactly the point. This situation could have been handled better by Ahsoka, but she is letting their past get in the way of the present. That's not a mistake of the episode, it's a mistake of the character within the episode.
In the last 500 years, I've only known one student who built a saber such as this.
Isn't every lightsaber unique? I know the colors aren't, but the hilts are personal to the Jedi that construct them. So couldn't you say the same thing about every single lightsaber constructed ever?
In some ways, yes, but there are also commonalities in material, design, and style between many lightsabers. While each individual hilt is unique, that doesn't mean they can't be similar.
I don't understand why things have to be so difficult.
Because TV and Hollywood execs think audiences will implode unless there's an inherent conflict to overcome between our heroes. All I'm saying is just try it once. If we do implode, then you can go right back to the formula. Promise.
Conflict is one of many things that can make character relationships interesting to watch. In this context specifically, having conflict between Ahsoka and Sabine makes sense because of their past. Discount Jeremy is arguing that characters who have an uncomfortable and tense history should just be getting along perfectly fine. I can't even comprehend the stupidity of this sin.
I bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training.
Ooh, pick me.
Skip.
Sometimes even the right reasons have the wrong consequences.
No, consequences aren't wrong or right. Consequences are consequences. Now, your actions may have unintended consequences, but that's just called owning your shit, Ahsoka.
She obviously meant consequences that will negatively affect the greater good. How is this so difficult for you to understand?
Give all the sins back if this thing suddenly stabbed her and summoned a slurry of demons from hell. And don't act like sudden Hellraiser would make any less sense than a cult of witches, okay?
Discount Jeremy makes a...
This is it.
Let's talk about this map. An order of witches from thousands of years ago made a map of the galaxy, hid it in a ball, turned that ball into a Rubik's sphere, buried that ball in a hole, put the answer to the puzzle on the floor above that hole, and then built a temple around that, all for why? I mean, clearly they want to hide it from certain people, but the fact that they went to all this effort and Ahsoka and Sabine managed to figure it all out in a day or two shows the witches managed to try far too hard and not nearly hard enough.
Of course, we know absolutely nothing about the witches at hand, so all of this is based on knowledge that doesn't exist.
Also, if this thing was buried thousands of years ago, how can it know who Thrawn is? Look, that's such a glaring error that I'm sure we'll get answers as the series progresses, but I have a funny feeling it basically comes down to the Force did it. And if I'm wrong, I'll write and perform an apology song to the tune of the Star Wars theme while juggling lightsabers.
And why would you have an issue with the show saying the Force did it? The Force is magic. It can do stuff like that. This has been the case since the very first movie. The show isn't trying to ground itself in our reality at all. It has a reality of its own. Also, complaining about the Force.
We have a problem.
A problem that Ahsoka predicted would happen and yet decided to stay parked out in the boonies instead of immediately finding out where Sabine lives and making sure she's safe.
Ahsoka, unlike you, knows that Sabine is a flight risk. I mean, she literally ran away from Ahsoka earlier in this very episode. Do you not think it's a possibility for that to happen again if Ahsoka brought her ship closer to Sabine?
If only you had some kind of 500-year-old armor made of a metal that lightsabers can't cut, and weapons you were infinitely more familiar with than lightsabers. Man, if only.
Discount Jeremy is pretending that Sabine had enough time for an outfit change. Look, I know professional models and singers can do that shit in seconds, but I don't think putting on Mandalorian armor is as easy or quick as changing into a new dress.
Oh, wow. Killing off a main character in the first episode. Gutsy. Or at least that's what I'd be thinking if I hadn't already seen both Kylo and the third sister get run through with a lightsaber and survive. Qui-Gon's Force Ghost is gonna be pissed if yet another person survives a lightsaber stabbing.
Yep, I agree with this. I'm not even saying that they should have killed Sabine here, just that she shouldn't have gotten stabbed if they didn't want her to die. Lightsabers are basically becoming wiffle ball bats, and I hate it.
I can't read a map? Where am I? I can't. How do I read a map? I don't know where I'm at. There's no button that says this is where I'm at.
Nobody, my nigga. He wasn't trapping, he was just rapping, doing that shit for a hobby, my nigga. Homie was frontin' like it wasn't nothing to go spend 100 with Poppy, my nigga. Bitches, they love it cause my shit was flooded like it was a tsunami, my nigga. Yeah. My pockets is fatter than yours. My bitches is badder than yours. I keep all the bunnies around me. That's what all these carrots is for. So why would I kill you, my nigga? That's what all these savages for. They run up on you at the light. Bullets go out through your passenger door. Losing his lesson cause homie was flexing like he was the only one holding the weapon like he couldn't get it. Who was you kidding? I thought you niggas would have been learned your lesson.
Did you keep a record of what you found?
The droids destroyed it.
Using the droids ate my homework as an excuse.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
You can always sign me up for a good ship landing, but we did not need nearly every step of their walk up to this discount Stonehenge.
This is called establishing the setting, which is important anytime you introduce a new setting. I can't wrap my head around how a guy who watches TV shows for a living doesn't understand this.
Loth cats in the willows so you can cram your lesson about friendship down our throats. At least, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here.
Complaining about loth cats.
Cluttered work area as a sign of talent cliche.
That's not a cliche.
I was hoping you were still here.
Hoping you'll get the chance to decapitate a droid. It's a weird thing to get this excited about is all I'm saying.
And this is some classic padding the scene count and runtime, because none of what he just said was legitimately critical or funny.
Damn. So hard to tell whether Ahsoka is mad, sad, or glad. The sin is this show not being about her absolutely dominating the World Series of Poker.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Take off an arm or leg and it just keeps coming.
Title of my sex? I mean erotic? I mean family friendly and in no way involving droids being used in a manner other than instructed fan fiction?
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sex tape joke that isn't funny cliche.
What happens if you get the power levels wrong?
The head will explode.
Perhaps we should perform this operation somewhere else.
I say go for it.
There's no time to relocate.
Show will now make this droid head inexplicably explodey, so the hospital scene can cosplay as if our main characters are in danger, and Ahsoka can invoke a non-existent ticking clock.
Let's start at the top of this gish gallop. First, you slipped in the word inexplicable when you were talking about the droid head exploding, but that's simply not true. They explained why the droid head could explode, because the power levels could become too much for it. Second, the ticking clock is not non-existent. Their enemy currently has the map and is going to make their move soon, so Ahsoka is absolutely correct about there not being much time.
Droid came here from Corellia.
The New Republic shipyard?
Episode expects me to know what Corellia is, and the New Republic, and a shipyard. Why does every Star Wars TV show require so much homework?
They don't. You're just stupid. Even the average child will be able to figure out through context clues that Corellia is a planet, the New Republic is the government, and a shipyard is a yard for ships. I mean, Jesus.
So getting all that from this wordless display.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Doesn't want my help.
Yes, she does.
Is there no part of Jedi training that focuses on the clear communications of thoughts and emotions? Screw the Force, y'all need therapy.
Yeah, that's kind of been the point for a long time, my dude. One of the biggest problems with the Jedi Order, which was also one of the problems that led to their downfall, was that they taught how to suppress emotions rather than express and control emotions. That's not a sin of the episode.
This place was not built by the Jedi. Whose work is it?
An ancient people from a distant galaxy.
Answering a specific question in the broadest terms possible.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Also, I guess it was only a matter of time before they crammed Star Wars stories inside other Star Wars stories. I was banking on a deep-fried Obi Skywalker-Salorian.
Yet more padding the scene count and runtime.
This is our galaxy.
What is this? A galaxy for ants?
Oh, shit.
I'm starting to feel a little too Game of Thronesy. And I don't like Game of Thrones being mixed in with my Star Wars. I mean, by season 8, I didn't really want Game of Thrones mixed in with my Game of Thrones.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
I hope it's some cool shit, because they're working hard to build this guy up like some kind of space anti-Jesus that's going to bring about Starmageddon. And if we're being honest, this franchise jumped that shark a long time ago with its giant space laser. And then that shark jumped another shark while driving a Corvette Stingray when they introduced a bigger space laser. So this is just a warning to the series that if you think about bringing Thrawn back with an even bigger...
For us.
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
As someone who has recurring dreams about breakdance fighting...
Skip.
I think she could use some structure. So could you.
So could this show.
Regardless of whether or not you agree with this sin, he didn't provide any explanation or evidence to back up his claim, which means I can't accept the claim.
I can't train if Ahsoka doesn't want to teach me.
Blaming your lack of training on Ahsoka seems a little unfair. You should blame your lack of training on donuts like everyone else does, Sabine.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
Designing a droid proficient in negative.
Designing a channel proficient in boredom.
Well, then I'm authorizing it.
I'm not sure you can.
Want to bet?
Is this a threat of physical harm, or a threat of staring at him until he complies?
It's a threat to contact her higher-ups and have them force him to show her. How do you not get this?
Pre-shoot yelling for the Empire like the shooting itself would make it super obvious that you're for the Empire.
Discount Jeremy has never heard of battle cries.
Exiting through the window instead of the door. I had a friend in college who would do this on the regular. Still to this day, he's an agent of chaos.
Yet more padding the sync count and runtime.
Whether it's lightsabers or people with superpowers, it's impossible to understand how one is more powerful than the other. But someone will win and someone will lose, and no one will care or have any understanding of why said winner won and why said loser lost.
Oh boy, another one of Discount Jeremy's classic sins about how he doesn't know who's going to win a fight before it happens. Why do you want to know the outcome of a fight beforehand? These sins are incredibly dumb.
Good job, and now we will all pause with our weapons interlocked for dramatic effect and a well-deserved breather.
He says, while clearly showing them trying to push her over the edge.
What is that? A sequencer? Odd time to be working on your tracks, Marok. You gotta get those beats in place before the saber battle. Doing a risky backflip that brings your feet closer to the flying blade as you rotate instead of the more logical front flip, or just jumping straight up.
Complaining about Ahsoka doing cool flips? That's definitely a sin.
One will be seated while Sabine sets down every single piece of her armor in real time.
Discount Jeremy has the attention span of a toddler with ADHD cliche.
Nice haircut. We better get moving.
I'm sure there's a lot of backstory here, and I get that there's some sort of symbolism as well. However, Ahsoka has been pretty cold towards Sabine this entire episode to this point.
You need my help. No, you've done enough. Let's get going. No, you need to recover.
So it really feels like the main source of tension between the two was her hairdo.
No, her problem was Sabine's rebellious nature, but Sabine is now showing her that she's willing to dedicate herself to her training.
Meanwhile, on Stargate.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
No, oh, hang on. Spoiler alert! Okay, no, I am your father.
Well, that's fine, but I don't see how that affects... What?
I've been feeling like a superhuman. Music booming, get a beat, then abusing, bruising, losers fuming. Got a mad dudes improving, but the truth is you've been falling off, and that's not my problem. I just play the hand that I was dealt. Hating on me won't get you commas. You should probably focus on yourself if you wanna get paid. Better get on the move and the rest lame. Man, I've been broke too till I made them tunes, and I got that loop in the pen game.
The first two sins in a row are both pointing things out on the screen. Also, he called the hyperspace travel a cliché, which further demonstrates that he doesn't know what the word cliché means.
Making me check my language settings while cursing the franchise for so few of these interesting training scenes.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliché.
Enough to get by?
Barely.
Hey, listen here, Discount Davros. Not every droid in this series needs to be in competition for the title of Sassy One.
Discount Jeremy sins Master Huang. That's worth this many sins.
How about Zatoichi?
For a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there are certainly a lot of references to a Japanese culture that hasn't even existed yet.
Yes, because the show was made on Earth and certain fighting styles are inspired by real-world fighting styles. Counting this as a sin is completely arbitrary. I mean, you're not sinning these characters for speaking English, which is a language from our real world, and you also sinned the show just a second ago for having a fictional language, so you're also contradicting yourself. What the hell, man?
Skill with a weapon comes from your Mandalorian upbringing. Those skills alone will not be enough to defeat our enemy.
Din Djarin has entered the chat and would appreciate it if you kept the name of his people out of your f***ing mouth. Also, citing this need for the Force is the most Star Wars thing to ever Star Wars. We already have enough Force users. Just let her wield lightsabers, chew bubblegum, and kick ass.
Did you not hear her say that Sabine won't be able to defeat the mercenaries without the Force? Very few non-Force sensitives have ever been able to go toe-to-toe with a Force sensitive and live. Also, complaining about the Force. That's worth this many sins.
Do you know where I am? Next to Huyang. Are you sure?
Ah, yes, that famous power we so rarely see. The Force move to wherever the f she needs to while the camera isn't on her. I can't wait to see Sabine master that one.
Sabine will more than likely never master that power, seeing as her aptitude for the Force is very minimal. Ahsoka has a much higher aptitude for the Force, which is why she is able to do it. I have no idea why you think any of this is a sin.
We have former Imperials working throughout every level of the New Republic government, and they have all taken an oath of loyalty.
Senator Rodrigo is either an Imperial loyalist as well or has never heard of the concept of lying. Neither should disqualify her from being a senator.
She's banking on honor and integrity. I mean, sure, not all former Imperials will remain loyal simply because they took an oath, but this is a mistake of the character within the episode, not a mistake of the episode itself.
Isn't this just another attempt to gain New Republic resources to aid in what has ultimately been your personal quest to find Ezra Bridger?
We haven't seen Hera be obsessed with searching for Ezra in this series, but none of these other politic heads question Xiono's assertion. So he may have a point, but we have no evidence in either direction.
This is a straight-up lie. In one of the previous episodes, Ahsoka was able to convince Hera directly because she mentioned possibly finding Ezra. That's exactly why Hera is doing this in the first place. Pay attention.
I was hoping that the urgency of our situation could expedite my training a bit?
What does that even mean? And why does Sabine think that that's something that could even happen? You spend 5 minutes on any group project with a Jedi, and you catch on pretty quickly that this is going to be a long, drawn-out process with no distinct beginning or end. They're not even sure what the goal is half the time. How do you expect them to expedite it?
Because Sabine isn't all that familiar with the Jedi, and the only one she is somewhat familiar with is very unconventional. Besides, you heard her reason for believing expedition of the process could be possible, because their situation is extremely urgent.
Jedi Order would not have accepted her. She is not an acceptable candidate.
By their standards.
Standards which were proven over a millennia.
And failed.
And failed doesn't quite capture being overthrown by the most obviously evil dude hiding in plain sight and a whiny kid with daddy issues.
Okay, but she's not wrong. What the hell is this sin?
Suppose you do come from a long line of non-traditional Jedi.
And if you don't get what that means, stop the show here and go watch 170 hours of previous Star Wars content to catch up. Don't worry, we'll wait.
This is yet another one of these stupid sins where he complains about a connected universe being a connected universe. If you don't want to watch all the content, that's fine. But you also don't have the right to complain about not understanding things if you don't watch the context. The tools to help you understand these things are available to you. Nobody is preventing you from using them.
We've entered the Denab system. All comm transmissions are being jammed.
All the comm transmissions for the entire system while in a hyperspace lane? Is it possible? Maybe. Is it convenient radio f***ery? Definitely.
Can you explain how it's supposedly convenient? I mean, you admitted that it's possible, and the show is literally telling you right now that it is possible, and this is a universe with incredibly advanced technology, so this entire sin is complete bullshit.
We drop out of hyperspace so far from the planet.
Well, production's cooked up a cool space battle to spice up this procedural walkthrough of a plot.
Standard Jedi mission protocol when approaching an unknown situation.
You say Maloo run, I say Maloo run.
So you play the in-universe reason for this action and then still sin it? That's dumb.
This is so much like a World War II air battle that it doesn't feel like space at all. Is there air? We don't know.
What? Okay, maybe this sin was meant to be a joke or something, but it's just unbelievably stupid and not funny whatsoever, so I'm just gonna sin it and move on.
Or unlucky for Sabine, all the fighters seem dead set on flying directly at the tail gunner position. Feast or famine, am I right?
Yes, the enemy ships are attacking from behind. I wonder why that could be. Maybe, just maybe, it's because the engines are in the back of the ship and taking out the engines would bring the ship down?
And given the fact that these fighters hit absolutely nothing, I guess they're former stormtroopers?
Discount Jeremy still thinks it's easy to hit a flying target while you are also flying.
And murder is fun? Hey, Scene, why are you being this way?
Jesus Christ, yes, she's elated because she destroyed one of the enemy ships. In self-defense. You know, because they were trying to murder Ahsoka and crew? Did you expect them to just roll over and show their bellies to the enemy?
I am starting to receive data.
Title of my Trex tape?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
How interesting. I would never have guessed that.
Oh, pray tell, I'm on the edge of my seat and will remain so until I get all the hot goss. I'm sure the show wouldn't make me wait another 8 minutes for the hot goss.
Oh no, 8 minutes? That's so long. Wait, only 8 minutes? Is Discount Jeremy Gen Z?
Reflectors at 10%.
Using math to tell me the situation is dire.
Pointing things out on the screen.
This ship is damaged and not moving. They don't need to keep flying by so fast like that. Pump the brakes and line up your shot.
Yeah, I agree with this. It would have been much more effective to just slow down their fighters and focus all their firepower on the stranded ship.
What about the Eagles? I want to know why they didn't fly the Purgle to Mordor.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Got an opening.
We all do. Everybody poops.
So the guy who complains when TV shows make poop jokes is now making an extremely cringy poop joke. Shove these 10 sins up your opening.
They must be hiding in the forest. Let's regroup.
Episode takes the idea of scanning for life forms or heat signatures out of its pocket and looks at it fondly for a second and then throws it out of the car onto the highway.
Notice how they said they were hiding in the forest? Guess what forests have a lot of? You guessed it, wildlife. In other words, scanning for life forms would probably be the least efficient strategy possible in this context.
I have taken refuge in the forest. Hunt them down.
I'm going to keep staring at this hinge, because rocks, man.
My first thought when I saw this scene was also, why isn't he hunting them down himself? But then I actually thought about it for a few seconds and realized that he's staying to protect the map, which is crucial to their plan.
Well, I played 18, shot 18. This can't seem to miss.
still climbing the ranks, rhyming with grace. Never shown signs of restraint when trying to be great. Put my soul into these records, I'm refining my taste. My mind is a bank of pure gems, diamond encased. Look, your man's prolific, go ask a critic. The answer's written in blood on the plaques and ribbons. The plan specific, hustle and surpass my limits. I live a rock star lifestyle, bands come with it, come on. Pursue a couple accolades and then proceed to kill. I make your favorite rapper change how they perceiving skill. The money coming in so fast, don't gotta read the bills. And labels flashing money at me like I need a mill. Jesus, guess they didn't know that they was dealing with a genius. 800 racks out of my bedroom, not prestigious. Never seen this hunger with this level of achievement. Look inside the bank, it ain't no wonder I'm conceited. Got me a crib, I'm about to get 2 to 5 more. When a hustler winning, they never scrutinize yours. When a man in the mirror told me pursue the right cause, I went from suicidal to the suicide doors.
Your legacy, like your master's, was one of death and destruction.
In Home 1, this is Fulker and Pete. Do you read us? Over.
Allow me to reiterate how nonsensical it is, or at least the internet tells me, for Sabine to be using a Rebels-era codename the Empire is already more than aware of thanks to Thrawn and Agent Kallus.
That's actually a good point. Damn, I did not expect this video to start off well, but they can occasionally put together a coherent sin.
If we can't make the journey to find Ezra, then no one should.
That is, far and away, the creepiest "if I can't have him, you can't either" I've ever heard.
Cool, and it's a mistake of the episode because... Seriously, this sin had nothing of value. It wasn't a joke, and it wasn't a legitimate criticism, so what the hell was the point of it?
Be stranded out there. Maybe this time for good.
Better that than allowing Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
But Thrawn could escape even if just Sabine and Ahsoka try to go get Ezra. So if Ahsoka is this concerned about Thrawn and willing to leave Ezra out there forever already, then why isn't the plan to just destroy the map ball and move on with their lives Ezra free?
Because they would rather get Ezra back, and it's possible to get him back without Thrawn getting back? I mean, just think about what you're saying for a second. You think people who have a strong bond with someone who is stranded would just be perfectly okay with leaving him there without even trying to get him back. Have you ever had any emotions?
Ahsoka doing that thing your mom does when she waits for you to walk away before telling you to do something else.
Discount Jeremy doing that thing nobody wants him to do when he points things out on the screen.
Master, we received word.
Better than receiving Excel or Access, I guess.
That fake-ass laugh. Also, that cringe-worthy joke was worthy of cringe.
That daft droid made it worse.
First of all, rude. Second of all, you crash-landed in enemy territory after being shot down, and this is your first thought?
What do you mean by enemy territory? This planet isn't controlled by the Empire. One particular part of it is being temporarily used by the Empire. They have no reason to suspect that there are enemies hunting them in the forest. As far as they know, they escaped the dogfight and their position is unknown.
I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing, Lieutenant.
I've heard that there are 4 seasons of Star Wars Rebels that, at least on occasion, tell a very different version of that statement.
But you can't leave without authorization.
Lieutenant wants the audience to be shocked that one of the characters on a show called Rebels is now rebelling.
Discount Jeremy uses something from Rebels when he complained about having to watch Rebels to understand this show in a previous episode. This is hypocritical, and as we all know, hypocrisy is hypocritical.
Thanks for joining the party, Carson.
Wouldn't miss it, General.
Name dropping this random officer means that I should already know who he is and what other Star Wars related material I've seen him in, but I shouldn't have to know who he is to understand a scene. Quit pulling this crap, Ahsoka.
You know, you actually don't need to know who Carson is to understand this scene. That's ludicrous. In order to understand the scene, you just need to be watching it. Hera is disobeying orders to go help Ahsoka and crew with a few New Republic pilots. That's it. Besides, as I've said a million times, if you don't want to watch the content that's available to you, you don't have the right to complain about it because it's your fault for not knowing the context. You can watch every single Star Wars property for free on any device that has access to the internet. It's really not that difficult.
Have faith.
Faith? I lost that a long time ago.
No, I think you're getting that confused with the inability to have an erection without the aid of a pill or a viewing of a lightsaber battle.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy boner joke that isn't funny cliche.
Keep hoping that this ball will turn into a phantasm ball and
Skip.
Witchcraft.
Sure, Balin, because as history has taught us, immediately assuming someone's involved in witchcraft always ends well, and no one gets set on fire or hung from the rafters. And then said things that never happened wouldn't also inspire a playwright to create a 16th century set play about witches that was, in fact, a direct metaphor for the McCarthy hearings and the Red Scare. That would never. So I can't think of a worse thing to do before a big battle than sprint for a full click and a half.
I mean, sprinting gets your adrenaline up, so it's actually not that bad to do before a fight.
Let me first shed my cloak so you'll know that I'm very serious about this upcoming lightsaber battle, because otherwise you might think I'm only partially invested in these festivities.
What was the point of this sin? It wasn't a legitimate criticism, so I have to then assume it was supposed to be a joke, but it wasn't funny in the slightest, so why is it in the video? Did they just want to communicate the fact that Discount Jeremy doesn't understand why people wear cloaks or something?
My favorite part of lightsaber battles is when they walk around in a circle and stare into each other's eyes. I mean, who needs actual lightsabering in a lightsaber battle when you have staring and circular stepping?
Jesus Christ, the reason people do this before engaging in a duel is to size up their opponent and test their opponent's movement. If you begin circling your opponent, you can observe how they respond to your movements.
You see, weeks of rampant speculation about Marok secretly being Ezra or some other Padawan, only to have it revealed he's nothing more than excess gas in a suit.
Yeah, I agree with this, Sin. I was expecting way more from this pretty cool character.
Never mentioned you.
Well, you see, Ahsoka, that's because while you may have a 15-year-old history, they need to invent a mysterious new antagonist for your show that they could say has always been in a galaxy far, far away. It's a nifty little trick the writers use called Vader's dead, and we need a new villain before Kylo shows up.
Or you could have just listened to the reason Balin gives for never having been mentioned, which makes sense in the context of the show, but cool, removing the show's reason definitely makes it easier to come up with bullshit sins.
Jedi has engaged Lord Balin at the Hem.
How long until we receive the final coordinates?
Moments.
Moments of convenience.
Okay, and could you explain how it's convenient? Could you give some evidence for your claim? If not, then this sin shouldn't be in the video.
Why fight so hard to get a little metal ball? If you wanted to delay Morgan, just destroy the transmitter beaming coordinates to her ship. Look at this giant metal box. That'd be way easier to destroy than grabbing the map source in the middle of a fight.
Ahsoka wants to destroy the map because that's the key to this whole thing. Destroying the transmitter would only serve to delay them because if they still had the map, they could just acquire a different transmitter. Ahsoka is trying to end this conflict once and for all.
You have no power.
Are you sure? Because she's doing the hand thing.
And you're ignoring the fact that when Sabine did the hand thing, nothing happened.
I don't know why Jedis don't use the Force all the time. It wouldn't make for great TV, I get that, but throwing assholes into rocks would be my opening move, my finishing move, and my middle move. And I might sprinkle in a ripping of someone's spine out of their body. What, does it make them tired? Only Grogu looks tired when he uses it, and he's a baby. Is there a meter so we can see the degrees of Force each Jedi has left?
Jesus Christ, you should really start paying attention to the things you watch. We're shown time and again throughout the Star Wars universe that A, it takes effort to use the Force, so yes, it's physically tiring, and B, it's not that easy to use the Force against other Force-sensitive people. What I mean by that is that Force-sensitives, at least the more experienced ones, can use the Force to repel Force attacks. In other words, Ahsoka can't just push or pull Balin in this scene because he would resist any power she tries to exert over him.
I get her hand is hurting, but Ahsoka dual wields lightsabers all the time, which means she should be better equipped at fighting one-handed more than just about anyone.
She is, but like you just said, her hand is hurting. How can you contradict your own sin during the sin? It's kind of impressive.
Your family died on Mandalore because your master didn't trust you.
Wait, no. Wikipedia tells me that Ahsoka had nothing to do with Sabine's parents dying. That was all Moff Gideon and the Night of 1,000 Tears. And we haven't been given a flashback before now that establishes otherwise. Why is this exchange?
Balin is using this wild, completely unheard of technique called lying. I know that nobody has ever lied before in the history of humanity, so this scene is very hard to understand, but Balin is just trying to turn Sabine against Ahsoka. He's not telling her the truth. He's being manipulative.
No one will be following us.
Except for the ex-Jedi who Indiana Jones the map into her hand. But other than her, yeah, no one's going to be following you.
Why did you keep this idiotic sin in the video? Like, yeah, Ahsoka does end up following them, but Balin has no way of knowing that beforehand. This sin is just really stupid. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Oh, wow, I can't believe they're using this place in the live-action series that I absolutely recognize and is super-duper meaningful to me. I loved it from that one cartoon where they did the cartoon stuff. Hooray for callbacks that we all very much get and aren't frustrated by at all.
Yet again, if you don't get something, it's your fault, not the show's fault. I know you think you have valid points because your fanboys mindlessly agree with everything you say, but that's only because they don't have the mental capacity to think for themselves. These sins are incredibly stupid. From now until the end of the show, any sin where he blames the show for his own refusal to watch some piece of context will get 10 sins.
Master?
Maybe she thinks this is the young Anakin who trained her, and I'm sure she still has great memories attached to that Anakin. However, it still feels like this franchise is trying to rehabilitate a serial killer who killed f***ing children. I'll never be able to get past that. Nor should I have to.
But as you just said, she has good memories attached to the younger Anakin. And since she is the one having this near-death experience, everything is from her perspective. Besides, in the very next episode, we see the mix between good Anakin and Darth Vader, so your complaints are dumb and pointless.
That was easy.
What's the lesson, Master?
Live. Or die.
Every time I get up, I end up on the ground. No matter how high that I climb, I fall down. I dust myself off and I do it again for a cycle that I know will never have an end. Every time I do well, I just wait for the bad. 'Cause it follows me around like the scars on my back.
Looks like you don't have much left to offer.
For a device that was pierced by a tube-shaped lava substance thing, this star map sure looks like it was sliced rather than saber-skewered.
I'm just gonna play the clip of Balin destroying the map.
Sorry, but the regular task of speaking into your comm stick would demand the necessity of a pocket perfectly placed for such a thing. No use to risk losing it in the folds of your front clothes like that.
Everything wrong with Ahsoka, ladies and gentlemen. Hera put her communication device in her waistline.
Mom, can I come out now?
No, you cannot come out now. Your mom will ping you on the comms when it's time. Stay inside where you're safe, for f***'s sake. This is why you never take children on dangerous secret missions.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure you've taken 7 steps and swiveled your head twice. I'm sure that's an in-depth enough search to determine your son is safe.
First, your sin about him needing to stay in the ship was directly contradicted by the show when Hera told him he could come outside. And second, sure, she didn't perform the most thorough search on the ground, but she didn't see anything when they flew in, so she knows there's nothing dangerous in the vicinity.
We don't know this planet, so keep Chopper with you.
Continuing to allow the biggest war criminal in a galaxy far, far away to babysit your son.
If you think Chopper is the biggest war criminal, you haven't seen the Clone Wars.
Putting the zipper on the back instead of the front.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I'm here to finish your training.
But only as long as it takes for your body to be recovered from underwater just before drowning, so let's hop right to it.
Okay, and the sin is what exactly? He didn't point out a legitimate criticism, and there wasn't any sort of joke there, so what was the point of this sin?
One is never too old to learn, Snips.
Matt Lanter isn't the one calling her Snips in this scene.
No. I love Matt Lanter's voice for Anakin, but live-action Anakin is Hayden Christensen.
I won't fight you.
I've heard that before.
Pointing out that we've heard something before to make us feel all the good nostalgic feelings while simultaneously feeling the confusion of being excited for another moment when Anakin force fights his protege.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes, cliche.
I'll cover it. What good is a high rank if you can't use it every now and then?
If you could cover it, why don't you just start with doing that when the dumbest senators known to man decline to give you the requested resources? Seems like a move you should have led with.
She means she's going to cover the damage control. How do you expect her to run damage control before she does the damage?
Sure. Yep. I knew that we'd suddenly found our way into another TV show altogether. Totally knew that before blatantly being told about it.
I love how he complains about being outright told something when he constantly complains about not being outright told information. Jesus, dude, pick a lane.
Why are we here?
You tell me.
I see we've immediately jumped from the teacher having one big lesson to teach to you must teach yourself without skipping a beat.
Yup, and what's the sin? If you think that's a sin in and of itself, you're gonna need to provide a reason. Seeing as you haven't done that, I have to sin you.
They were following my orders. I got them killed.
You're 14. If someone put you in charge, it's their fault.
This is true, but it's still not a sin. It's actually one of the better aspects of the Clone Wars era that the Jedi Order was not exactly what I'd call great. They forced literal children to lead troops into battle during a galactic war. Now again, I'll remind you that this isn't a sin of the episode, it's characterization for the Jedi Order.
Gonna press our fuel reserves.
If I have to hear about fuel in a Star Wars property one more time, I'm going to stop sinning this shit altogether. Actually, we both know that's a lie, but I will hit you with 5 sins for this annoying carryover from The Last Jedi.
But The Last Jedi doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a Star Wars property called The Last Jedi, at least not in canon. Fight me, Rey lovers. The sequels aren't canon, and I'll die on that hill.
You do things your way because you care.
This is the same droid that gave Ahsoka shit for doing things the non-Jedi way, but is clearly capable of comforting a rogue general. What an ass.
Notice how you said that Ahsoka was doing things the non-Jedi way? Huyang, as a droid who has served Jedi his entire career, pushes for Jedi to act like typical Jedi, but Hera is not a Jedi, so that doesn't apply to her.
People don't just vanish into thin air.
In this world, they actually do.
Yup, and she doesn't know about that, so I don't know why you consider this a sin. Seriously, why did you keep this in the video? It wasn't a legitimate criticism and it wasn't a joke, so now I'm just confused.
What was he like?
Listen, if there's any sort of backstory that we need to know, it's how the general here either doesn't know anything about Ahsoka's master or knows the name but has no historical understanding of who Anakin is or what he became. This is the sort of detail to dig into. Cut out the previous Leons and give me a few minutes of perspective on Hera.
The answers to these questions aren't really in any of the movies or shows, but they do exist in extended canon, meaning they are available to you, which in turn means you can't complain about not knowing them. For a little bit of Star Wars history, Anakin was one of the most popular Jedi during the Clone Wars. He was considered a war hero in the Republic. Once he became Darth Vader, though, most people just assumed he had died during Order 66, and they didn't know that Vader was actually Anakin. Hera was too young during the Clone Wars to really be familiar with Anakin, and Ahsoka presumably never talks about him because the memory still hurts, so Hera therefore knows nothing about him. Now, some TVSins fanboys might want to complain about this information not being in the show, but Star Wars has been a connected universe for quite some time, so if you're not on the train by now, that's your fault.
And this is why you cannot give lightsabers to children.
Why? Because they'll make a badass fight scene? That's dumb.
Also, I'm not sure what lesson Anakin is trying to teach Ahsoka here, but I'm pretty sure it's related to fanfiction demands for a Vader-Ahsoka standoff, more than a need for character development.
This is a great sin because it demonstrates what I said earlier about Discount Jeremy needing every little piece of information spoon-fed to him. Anakin's lesson for Ahsoka here is never explicitly stated, but it is implied. He's teaching her a few things in this episode. One is that letting go of her emotions hasn't actually helped her and she needs to embrace her attachment to others. Another is that he simply wants to get her fighting spirit back, which is sort of connected to the first thing. The last thing is that he wants her to know she won't necessarily end up like him just because he trained her. Ending up like Darth Vader is something Ahsoka has feared for a long time, so Anakin is making it clear to her that she won't go down that same path.
Ah, stop it! I can only change my pants so many times.
It's really weird how often I have to write this exact same sin, but the guy who complains anytime a show has a poop joke in it just made a poop joke. Hypocrisy is hypocritical.
Jason doesn't react to whatever smart-ass remark I'm sure Chopper just made.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen, cliche.
Bring your bedsheet.
Hey, that's 2 in a row.
The space whales have essentially become the Star Wars equivalent of the eagles from Lord of the Rings.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref. Also, you made this exact same comparison in the previous video. It wasn't funny the first time you did it, and it certainly isn't funny now.
The Senate Oversight Committee is going to determine if your command should be permanently suspended.
Wow, that's quite a waste of time. With that level of incompetence, the First Order could...
Skip.
Behold Ahsoka in her savior era. She flies. She speaks with animals. She was dead once. She wears white. Cue the clouds and sunlight for Star Wars Gandalf.
Oh, shit.
Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Captain, the reason we are here is because there was no mission.
That's not true. There was a mission, it just wasn't sanctioned. And while I'm at it, what parameters did Hera violate? The X-Wing pilots came of their own accord, and she didn't use New Republic resources. She came in the Ghost, which is her personal ship. I'm not seeing any rules broken.
What do you mean she didn't use any New Republic resources? Are you trying to say that the X-Wings are not New Republic resources? Even though they are? What?
Peek into the world where these folks get fit for their uniforms. It seems like there'd be some
Skip.
Move us in.
Aren't you supposed to flee to Tarsus before you get inside the whale?
Discount Jeremy makes a biblical reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. That's gotta be worth more sins than regular pop culture references.
Evasive maneuvers. Get clear of their path.
Wow. Not since Han listed lazily to the left have I seen such effective evasive maneuvers.
This is actually a good sin, and it kinda made me chuckle.
That was fun.
She wanna fuck, but I told her it's over. I went and hopped right in the Benz. Why you gon' hide me when you wanna love me? I told her we better as friends. If they wanna spite me and come with the rifles, I'm shooting whoever they send. I take a jet to the spot, bitch, I'm flying first class and it's double your rent. I'm chilling with 50, man, they give me 50, I give them 100%. Look, I never started if I will not finish it, guess I'm just loving the ends. They try to bargain, but I'm not a target, look, I'm not on fucking defense. I'ma go make it and I'ma go spend it, look, I don't need someone to lend. I make a lot of the money I'm popping, it's funny, they hate me for real. I'll never be lazy, I need a Mercedes with diamonds all over the grill. I run the numbers, I see that they fumbling, gotta just go for the kill. And if they came with me, they know that I'm paying attention and paying the bill. Man, you a dub. You just be talking that shit, you about to get smacked in the face. I'm way above. I'm in Chicago, this vibe, and there's no way you making a case. Faking the love, gotta be over the drama and talking, just saying the grace. She wanna cut, man, I just get up and run, cause I know the whole love in the chase.
Oh, nobody warned me the episode would start like this. Hold on, pause it. I need to go grab my edibles and turn on Dark Side of the Moon.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Ah, yes. History of the Galaxy Parts 1, 2, and 3.
1 being the best, of course.
What's more distracting than Ahsoka basically looking into the camera as she said this is that she could theoretically be talking about The Phantom Menace or A New Hope. You, she could totally be talking about The Phantom Menace.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
She could have ended this. No throne, no war.
Don't worry, Ahsoka. Even if she had ended this, you'd still have more war when the First Order came along a few decades later. When war's 50% of your title, you're pretty much always guaranteed to have it.
Only 3 sins into this video, and he's already padding the sin count and runtime. Yay.
Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Cliché.
Nope, that's not a cliche.
We had a deal. You promised me I would see Ezra again.
No part of that deal specifies how you'd be transported to Ezra. Gotta be smarter with your bargains, Sabine. If reading Dresden Files has taught me anything, it's that wording in your bargains is extremely important.
That's exactly the point the episode is making here. Why are you agreeing with the show and then counting it as a mistake of the show? Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
J.J. Abrams called. He wants his hyperspace effects back. I got confused for a minute trying to remember whether it was Lady Morgan or Chris Pine that was captaining the ship.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
Ahsoka was all like, we hear the complaints about all the other Star Wars shows having too much Tatooine and sand, so we're not going to do that. But we will make sure every f***ing planet has a Stonehenge. Enjoy.
Stonehenge is one of the real world's oldest and most famous mysteries that a lot of people have theorized about with regard to the supernatural. In a show where literal witches play a heavy role, it makes sense for there to be some Stonehenge-esque locations. Besides, how does simply pointing this out constitute a sin?
Oh, goody! Star Wars version of Deadites. We've already seen their version of Star Trek space whales, Stargates, and Phantasm balls in this series. Might as well keep ripping off as many other properties as possible.
This is a blatant misuse of the term ripping off. Just because you can't wrap your head around the difference between each of these elements doesn't mean they aren't different. Jesus, keep up. Also, just add another 3 sins for the pop culture references. We're not even 2 minutes into their video and he's already made so many.
Your visions guided me across the stars.
They did not. You had a Phantasm ball map and a weird Stargate ship, which we've already covered. Keep up, Elsbeth.
But her visions led her to use all of those things. Keep up, Discount Jeremy.
Where is Thrawn?
You shall wait. He is coming.
Yeah, we've been told that for 5 f***ing episodes. I'm really getting tired of being told to wait. Why don't you f***ing wait for once? See how you like that? Wait, I'm sorry. What was that? That would just add episodes? Huh, never mind.
It reeks of Jedi.
The sisters pick up on the can't even lift a mug with the Force Jedi-adjacent odor of Sabine instead of the literally trained as a Jedi for years and even has a master and apprentice dynamic odor of Baylan and Shin.
Baylan and Shin are both dark side Force users, meaning they wouldn't reek of Jedi. Seriously, dude, pay attention.
It is dangerous.
Seriously, Discount Cinnabites, do you back anything up? Or are you just accusing people randomly? Because I get enough of that reading correspondences in the Sins mailroom.
Unfunny joke aside, why did these literal witches need to back up their claims? They're interpreting what their magic is telling them, just like how traditional Force users interpret the Force. What the hell is this sin?
Stories of this galaxy are considered folk tales.
In a universe of force powers, witches, lightspeed travel, and aliens of all types, I'm curious what the criteria for being a folk tale is.
As you get older, look at history, and realize it's all inevitable.
I f***ing love everything about Baylan. His relationship with Shin is so respectful and caring. His clear torment from surviving Order 66 is readily apparent in all of his expressions. He really is the Charles Dance of the show. So I'm sending the universe for taking him away so soon.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche. Look, I know that he made the feeble excuse of sinning the universe for taking him away, but this was a great chance to give him his flowers without forcing a bullshit sin into the video. Not removing a sin for Ray Stevenson deserves at least 100 sins.
Why wasn't Thrawn's ship here and ready when Morgan arrived? Seems like they had plenty of notice between when she popped out of hyperspace and when she landed on this spire. Better yet, if these Night Sisters read the future, shouldn't they have been able to tell Thrawn exactly when they would arrive?
Not necessarily. You're misunderstanding their magic just like you misunderstand pretty much everything about TV shows in general. Just because they can read certain bits and pieces of the future doesn't automatically mean they can read anything about the future they want. I don't know why this is so difficult for you to understand. Also, your question about why Thrawn's ship wasn't already here is pointless nitpicking. Simply asking a question doesn't necessitate a sin. The reason for Thrawn's delay doesn't matter to the story being told, so we aren't given that piece of unnecessary exposition.
I understand it is you I have to thank for my escape from exile.
I mean, not really. All she really did was refuse to destroy the orb Shin had already retrieved from Morgan and Balin. I wouldn't call that helping as much as refusing to hinder.
Which ultimately helped their cause? What are you even trying to say?
If you survived, I'm sure he's doing just fine.
You've gambled the fate of your galaxy on that belief.
And it is super f***ed up that Sabine did this. And maybe I'll be wrong and she'll have to pay dearly for the storm she's brought down on everyone, but there wasn't a way to make all of these things happen without us having to hate the f*** out of Sabine.
Why do you constantly sin movies and shows for having characters make realistic mistakes? Do you seriously think that nobody in real life has ever made a mistake? These sins are genuinely some of the dumbest these channels make, and they keep regurgitating this garbage over and over again. Besides, simply making a mistake shouldn't make you hate a character. Sure, she made a very large mistake, but we understand her reason for making it, and she does everything in her power to rectify it. She's not automatically a bad person for making that one mistake.
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, bat dog.
Discount Jeremy tries to sing in a video cliche. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a
Where the f*** was this Sabine during the earlier fight with Shin? I feel like Shin would have lost both duels if this Sabine fought them.
Nope, Sabine still would have lost. You're not taking Shin's skills into account here.
Our primary objective is to escape this galaxy.
I didn't come into Ahsoka thinking Thrawn's intentions will be very similar to Kang's and Ant-Man Quantumania, but here we are.
Discount Jeremy makes
You abandoned me!
So Sabine asked for a ride and not a bodyguard, so her irritation at Toda for not fighting with her seems a little unfair and therefore sinful.
So characters aren't allowed to have believable emotions anymore? Okay, cool.
You got something?
Going from f*** you for being a coward to I trust you completely and will follow your every lead is a choice.
She's trusting an animal's instincts, which ends up working. Somewhat indirectly, granted, but still. I mean, are you forgetting that people use tracking dogs in the real world?
Hey Frank, I think I got an idea for a new...
Skip.
Comes from a breed of Boken Jedi trained in the wild after the temple fell.
The heck is a Boken Jedi? Turns out there are more flavors of Jedi than there are types of apples, but Show doesn't realize that, much like apples, I'm only interested in the red and green ones.
And that's only your personal opinion, not an objective sin of the episode. And as we all know, based on your track record, your opinion means jack shit.
Star Wars creates adorable alien baby cliche.
That's not a cliche.
Knew I could count on you.
Were you counting on her to find you? Because my understanding is that the conclusion of Rebels made it seem like you were counting on her to protect Lothal in your absence.
Okay, do you think it's impossible for someone to establish a system of protection and then go look for someone after? Jesus, dude, use your brain.
The thread of fate has spoken to us. Another comes. A Jedi.
Well, your threat of fate is some bullshit. Because Ahsoka isn't a Jedi anymore, just like Balon isn't a Jedi anymore.
Ahsoka was trained as a Jedi and only uses the light side of the Force, which most closely aligns her with the Jedi. That's the difference between Ahsoka and Balin, the side of the Force that each one respectively uses. It's not that complicated.
I want to know her background, history, home world, her master, everything.
You already know her master. You met Anakin during the Clone Wars, bro. Did you forget that?
So meeting someone automatically means you magically know who their apprentice is? What are you smoking?
Authority is not given to you to deny the return of the king, steward.
Off a trip from Sedona, picked up land and put down Coronas. Living like a young high roller, the drip so crazy, this that pneumonia. Homie, I've been living in God mode, kidnapped the game, now I'm giving the Stockholm, the racks on deck. I'm a trip on the pronto, I spit crack rock till I'm richer than Pablo. Come on, I've been on a wave so long, no doubt I'm about to get seasick. Heard y'all coming for the king, that's treason. Better bow down, bitch, pledge your allegiance. They don't wanna see Vin when they get crypto rich. Big homes that are living with an info bitch, thick toes and they tell it than a pistol grip. Cause the money kinda set it like a Kimbo flip. Like, where pressure to allocate all of this paper that's making me salivate. I know it talks, I let it elaborate. They told me pop a bottle of the cabinet.
This video has 1 minute and 10 seconds of sponsorship and intro before we get to the actual content. That means roughly 1/10 of this video is fluff, and that's not even counting the outro.
This report reads like a child's fairy tale. Jedi, false Jedi, star maps, star whales, distant galaxies. Honestly, are we to believe any of it?
I mentioned this is exactly what people who didn't watch Rebels said upon starting Ahsoka. It's me. I'm people.
And as I've said many times, that's your own fault, not the show's fault. Why are you blaming the show for your refusal to watch content?
Also, all those listed things are real and witnessed by more people than just Hera, except false Jedi. I agree. That's a made-up bullshit.
Yes, they've been witnessed by more people than Hera, but do you see any of those people here? No? Okay, then what was your point?
Morgan Elsbeth was leading a coordinated effort by the Imperial Remnant.
Objection!
You can't object. You're the judge. You've got to bang something to maintain order.
Discount Jeremy tries to apply real-world rules to the fictional Star Wars universe.
What about the conflict on Mandalore?
I understood that reference. Yes. I love having to watch 7 different things to stay up to date on a show's lore. Really makes it all worth it.
Yet again, you being too lazy or having too short of an attention span to watch the context for things is not a flaw of the show. That's your own fault. Star Wars has been a connected universe for quite some time now. If you're not on board, then stop bitching and moaning.
Creepier. But why are you here?
I assume it's because they ran out of cartoon characters to cameo. Apparently, if this series falls below 3 cameos per episode, the bus will explode.
I'm here on behalf of Senator Leia Organa.
Whoa, C-3PO and a Leia name drop? This is really still not enough to salvage this scene from Droid in Order for me. Sorry.
Complaining about C-3PO and Leia.
I object. In the strongest terms.
It's weird how no one else is talking on the council. Probably to save Disney money, but it gives the effect that no one really gives a shit about this besides the guy we're supposed to hate.
And why is that a sin? It's entirely possible that the others really don't care as much or are possibly just conflicted on the situation and don't know what to say. You haven't explained how that's a mistake of the episode.
Court cannot admit evidence of this kind from a mere droid.
Mere droid? Mere droid? Sir, you are in the presence of...
Skip.
We made 20 or more of these recordings.
Well, that's a convenient way to cameo Hayden Christensen whenever people get bored and the show needs a pick-me-up.
So the sin is for the show doing something clever? What? How is that a bad thing?
It's an Imperial minefield deployed around the arrival point.
How much time passed between the witches telling Thrawn Ahsoka was coming and now? Because I'm having trouble believing it'd be enough time to set up such an elaborate trap.
Except the show is telling you that it was enough time. Without any further information to contradict the show, how can you just randomly assume that there wasn't enough time?
And now the ship will dive into a ring of spacecraft so dense it's impossible to see through, and because nothing is explained, we're forced to assume that a combination of luck, the Force, a well-built ship, and maybe a force field shield thing are the only reason they survive this.
And why is that a sin? I mean, you list multiple different factors that combine to create a situation in which the characters could absolutely survive, and then you just randomly say, but that's bad because I said so.
The master was General Anakin Skywalker.
That fake-ass laugh.
Being this confident that your 4 massive ink pens aren't going to ruin your white suit. This is why pocket protectors exist, people.
Padding the sin count and runtime.
Without pursuit, we shall lose them in the debris field.
Stop saying debris field.
Stop complaining about random things for no reason.
Huh. Out of all the places I expected Star Wars to pull inspiration from, the Oregon Trail wasn't one of them. Hope Ezra doesn't get dysentery and die.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Damn it, Star Wars. No more little green babies. My heart can only take so much.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche.
Yeah, so where is Ahsoka? Is she coming? That's complicated.
Just say your Jedi Master was killed and you absconded with her murderer. It's not that complicated.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Are you chanting? You don't have a flying laser pointer. You're not one part of this, so stop trying to be in their clique.
If she's chanting, then she is a part of it. What the actual is this sin?
Using these lame-ass ships instead of the TIE fighters. We can see you have them. I want to hear my sounds.
Not only do they end up using TIE fighters later, but complaining about these live-action gunships from the Clone Wars is definitely worth at least 15 sins.
Cute little alien reacts to f***ing up in a Star Wars property. Cliche.
That's not a cliche.
Can't leave him. I'm gonna circle up.
Trying to prove you're a space western by stealing from actual westerns. This entire sequence just screams Gunsmoke or Rawhide.
Discount Jeremy makes 2 pop culture references that aren't sins of the episode cliche.
Ezra is not immediately shot in the head after leaving the safety of his minimal cover to whoopa whoopa in this scene.
Discount Jeremy still thinks it's easy to hit a moving target while you are also moving. Not to mention that the nomads are on animals, so their movement isn't even steady.
Man, to be an enemy pilot in the Star Wars universe. Just you and the open sky and all of the starships you can miss.
And that's 2 in a row.
On my mark, turn these stairs into a ramp for no reason. Thanks.
He says for no reason while showing Ahsoka sliding down the ramp, which is the reason.
Well, now, this is a surprise.
That you landed in the one spot where you were out of all the possible landing sites? I agree. That is a surprise.
What? Do you not realize she landed here specifically because he was here? It wasn't by chance, it was on purpose.
No. The Force is my ally. That's all I need.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
Complaining about the Force.
Okay, now do that to Sabine. It'll be easy. What? Are you waiting for cooldowns or something?
She wants to fight Sabine hand to hand because she knows she can win. It's this little thing called arrogance, and it's not a flaw of the episode, it's a flaw of the character within the episode.
Tell me that stupid ship has had rockets this entire time? But I guess when you have the worst fighter pilots in the galaxy on your tail, why waste the ammunition?
I like how he complains about the ship not using its explosives before now when the enemy fighters are behind the ship. These clearly aren't homing missiles, they won't do a 180 in midair. So if Huaying shot them, it would be a waste because he'd miss. Think, Discount Jeremy, think.
Deus Ahsoka.
Discount Jeremy still doesn't know what Deus Ex Machina means.
There Sabine goes again, hoarding rocket darts.
Discount Jeremy sends rocket darts.
Guys, getting a feeling.
Hey, so am I. All warm and fuzzy. It feels weird, but kind of nice. This is exactly how I'd want to feel in a series with... Wait, how many episodes are left?
He mentioned feeling warm and fuzzy, so Discount Jeremy sends something he likes, cliche.
I might be going home after all.
No! Don't say that! That's like the old police sergeant who says he's just one day away from retirement. I have a feeling fans will riot if Ezra dies. Who am I kidding? They'll riot no matter what. No one hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan.
That second part is 100% true, but Ezra survives and ends up making it home, so the whole first part of this sin was bullshit.
Shadowjacker, you haven't come out of your masturbation cave in eons!
It's high time I emerge from my cum cocoon. I grow tired of eavesdropping and masturbating to the sounds you all make.
Told him I'ma get it all alone. Y'all can touch me when I get into my zone, motherfucker. I'm a killer chick, I just might kill a chick. I'm on some thriller shit. Been equipped cause they was sleeping on me, now I'm creeping in its own. Told him I'ma get it all alone. Y'all can touch me when I get into my zone, motherfucker. I'm a killer chick, I just might kill a chick. I'm on some thriller shit. Been equipped cause they was sleeping on me, now I'm creeping in its own. On my spooky shit, I'm back and I'm better. Getting festive with the flow, I got my groove back like Stella. I'm applying that pressure, these leaves I came here to sell, but my foot on the neck, got them waiting to exhale like Loretta. I'm in my bag, whacking suckers back to back up on some border shit. Custom to the coast, so even in the fall, I'm floor shit. Can't be compared to these lanes, they weak, I put them more to them. This he gon' leave them ducking like an organ.
Is it just me, or does this shot manage to be phallic, yonic, and sexually penetrative all at once? Just me? Liar.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny, cliche.
Grand Admiral, the cargo transfer is complete.
Thank goodness. I've been waiting so long for them to finish with this cargo transfer. It's eaten up like 30% of the season's plot. I can't wait for the payoff that'll come from showing me what's inside those boxes. You're not going to show me what's inside those boxes, are you? Come on, what's in the box?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
There is little the Jedi can do to stop us now.
Yeah, but you only know that because Darth Filoni already announced he's making a movie to tie up the New Republic shows. I don't care if you're a witch. Reading the script is cheating.
Padding the sync count and runtime is also cheating, but look where we are.
She who heard our dreams across the stars.
Alright, so back in episode 1, I send the magic orb knowing where Thrawn is, and this is what I said. I have a funny feeling it basically comes down to the Force did it. And if I'm wrong, I'll write and perform an apology song to the tune of the Star Wars theme while juggling lightsabers. Well, it's clearly because of some witchy powers and not the Force, and as I'm a man of my word, I present to you my apology. With lightsaber juggling. I am so very sorry, so very sorry, sorry
Oh shit.
Also, Discount Jeremy tries to sing in a video, cliche. Also, the irony in this sin is that the Witches of Dathomir use the Force. That's where their powers come from. It's a different brand of Force powers, but it stems from the same power source as the Jedi and Sith's powers.
Blade of Tal'Sin.
You know what, show? I am done going to Wikipedia to understand references to cartoons and books from the last few years. I will instead reward you with our own patented Blade of Tal'Sin.
And I'm done with telling you over and over again that your refusal to watch context is not a flaw of the show, it's your own fault.
Okay, this might be one of the wittiest episode titles in the history of episode titling. Makes sense for the story, the syllables line up. Hell, wardrobe and warlord even start the same. But did someone forget that we're dealing with some serious galaxy-threatening shit here? A witty pun is not the shift in tone I was expecting.
How does the title of an episode supposedly affect the tone within the episode? That just doesn't make any sense. Also, Discount Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
The blade emitter's too narrow.
Ha ha ha. People complain the lightsabers were too skinny in the cartoon. Very funny, self-aware reference. Just build your damn lightsaber.
So the episode made a mistake by having a funny and self-aware joke? What?
What happened between those two?
Save your breath, Ezra. We've been wanting to know the same thing all season, but it doesn't look like...
Ahsoka became afraid that Sabine was training as a Jedi for the wrong reasons after what happened on Mandalore.
Oh, so you're telling him? Did no one think that crucial bit of backstory might have helped us understand their relationship a bit more?
That's exactly why he's telling Ezra, so the audience can get that information. What the hell is the issue with this? You say it's a bad thing that they're not telling us this information, and then you say it's a bad thing when they are telling us this information. You can't have it both ways.
Your gamble paid off.
Hold your forces there, Ahsoka. You can't claim the gamble has paid off until all the holographic cards have been revealed. If Thrawn makes it back to your galaxy, that is the very definition of the gamble not paying off.
She was more referring to Sabine finding Ezra, and I think you knew that. You're just forcing a bullshit sin out of the episode.
Over the years, I've made my share of difficult choices.
Yeah, but did any of those choices ever risk bringing back the greatest threat to peace in the galaxy?
No, but they often affected the outcomes of battles and other conflicts within the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War, which are both massively important events.
Being a Jedi isn't about wielding a lightsaber.
That fake-ass laugh.
I know the fighters technically hit the engines, but this ship is an absolute tiptoeing sitting duck, and they had all of the run-up to get these shots in. This quarterback should be toast.
Didn't you just say they hit the engines? So you're sitting them for having bad aim when you're literally admitting they hit their target. That makes all the no sense.
Ahsoka's T61974 survives this. They really should have given that a sexier name. Or at least something.
Skip.
Only if we let it.
Which is Ahsoka's way of saying, F those now defenseless turtle gremlins we've befriended. Let's leave them utterly stranded and open to attack as we gallop towards our ticket home.
Once they leave the Nomads, the Empire has no reason to attack them. The Raiders are the only remaining threat to them, and they've already had to live with the threat of the Raiders before Ahsoka and crew showed up. So I don't know what your point is.
Consider all of the TIE fighters lost. Mark their captain for a citation.
I hope that citation is for trooper most likely to disappoint the Empire by being a dumbass in the face of underwhelming odds.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
The options to prevent that departure are now severely limited, if not impossible.
Typical Star Wars villain underestimates the good guys instead of...
Which is why we should prepare for a ground assault.
Oh, kind of took the wind out of my sails there, Thrawny. Wait, is this an intelligent Star Wars villain? What? That's not my Star Wars.
Everything wrong with Ahsoka, ladies and gentlemen. The villain is smart.
Now we have a phallic tower of magic entering a yonic symbol of fascism, which is also being docked by a yonic piece of technology, and please tell me I'm still not the only one seeing this.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
On found this place. Woke up the witches, rebuilt his starship.
I don't think we can overstate how lucky Thrawny got. He landed on a planet that just happened to be inhabited by exiled witches who not only had knowledge of a map to this galaxy, but also had access to a sister witch working for the Empire who could help them. It's amazing he landed on a planet with life on it at all.
It's almost as if there's a magical force in this universe that makes things happen and creates destinies for people. I wonder what that mysterious force would be called.
So are we really going to just skip over how he woke up the Great Mothers? Were they dead? In stasis? We could have had an entire episode dedicated to Thrawn finding this ancient temple, braving the catacombs, and waking up these magical beings. Instead, it's brushed over in a single sentence.
Because it doesn't matter to the story being told. Do you not understand how stories work? I mean, if there was an episode dedicated to that, you'd be complaining about a show that's called Ahsoka, focusing on a character who isn't Ahsoka.
Bring hellfire upon them.
This really should have worked. Like, really. This is a Star Destroyer unleashing fury against 3 squishy people. And Thrawn knows exactly where they're heading. Yes, they're using the Force Ex Machina to help, but only up until the point they start focusing on opening the doors. How are they dodging the fire then?
Still the Force. I don't know where you're getting this idea that they stopped using it. Also, Discount Jeremy still doesn't know what the term Deus Ex Machina means.
Forgive me for being crude, but why can't we chop some more heads off? Or even hands? They're not sparing any lives here. They definitely intend on killing these guys, so why not make it quick and definitive? Why are we going for all these slashing and grazing shots as if we're showing this on the Disney Channel? Oh.
Yeah, I actually agree with this.
We interrupt this episode of Ahsoka to bring you Hocus Pocus, a Star Wars story.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Zombies. Star Wars now has zombies.
Wait, what's the sin? You just said that Star Wars has zombies. You didn't point out a mistake of the episode. What the hell, man? Also, are you pretending that this is the first time Star Wars has had zombies? The Clone Wars happened long before this show.
Destroying a door panel makes the door react exactly as you need it to. Cliché.
Nice try, but that's not a cliche.
Still not a sex thing. Still not a sex thing. Still not a sex thing.
Discount Jeremy is still talking about sex in relation to a Star Destroyer. I mean, at least it's better than original Jeremy's lust for an 11-year-old Emma Watson.
His lightsaber falls off of her hip because it knows she'll appreciate the victory so much more if she really has to work for it.
Don't you constantly sin things for supposedly being convenient? But now you're sinning this for being inconvenient? Pick a lane, dude. Jesus.
Or waits until now to force grab the lightsaber because he either likes getting his ass thrown around or wanted Sabine to grab hers first because he didn't want to make her feel inadequate.
Or maybe he was preoccupied with the zombie attacking him? Just a thought.
Stormtroopers suddenly decide that dealing with the Jedi scum is a spectator sport and they aren't qualified to participate.
You do see that Morgan is fighting Ahsoka hand-to-hand right now, right? Which means that the Stormtroopers don't have a clear shot at Ahsoka and would be risking hitting Morgan if they open fire.
So I guess not a single one of these troopers who are literally surrounding this place saw Sabine get into position to deliver this line.
Didn't you just mention how they were all watching the fight between Ahsoka and Morgan? Sabine obviously just came up behind them. It's really not that complicated.
Also, I guess the sword isn't so special after all and can be used by anyone who picks it up. Much like Anakin, Elspeth didn't have to sacrifice her pupils after all.
Yeah? And the sin is what exactly? Are you not going to bother explaining? Jesus Christ, whatever.
Heroes jump into a seeming abyss only to be picked up by a flying companion. Cliché.
That's not a cliche, my guy.
Long live the Empire.
This dude really got to give an entire villain monologue shortly before jumping away without any consequences whatsoever. Now that feels like a cartoon.
That fake-ass laugh. Also, complaining about Thrawn being a badass is getting you 100 sins.
This f***ing bird and the nonsense metaphor it flew in on.
And the metaphor is bad because... Oh, you don't have a reason? Okay, then this isn't a valid sin.
I know the show's trying to set up a cute reveal for Ezra, but in what universe would they allow an unknown ship to land and not open fire upon a person wearing the enemy's armor? In reality, Ezra's ship got blown up on approach, and he's a Force ghost by now.
So you're advocating for shoot first, ask questions later? That's extremely conservative of you. Hopefully Discount Jeremy never enters law enforcement.
Ain't that some These are some racist motherfucking zombies.
The only reason I'm here is to secure the future.
For you?
Something far greater. When I was a bit older than you are now, I watched everything I knew burn.
Do you miss it?
Couldn't make sense of it at the time. I miss, as you get older, the idea of it. Look at history. You realize it's all inevitable.